We rolling.
Here we go. Please tell me your name. Wait. Now, Chef, before I start this party, you already know I love you. Three quick things. I love laughter, I love smiles, and I love tears in case you're a crier. I won't judge you, all right? We'll cry together. Now, I don't want you over here crying up a storm now, because then I can't make you. No, I'm kidding. Do your thing.
You got
Let's do this. You ready for me?
I'm ready for you, brother.
Here we go. Please tell me your name, your age, where you're from, and what you do.
My name is Robert Stewart. I am originally from Baltimore, Maryland, currently living in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I am a personal and catering chef.
Now, Chef, you ain't going to be coming up here being all boring. This ain't the Food Network, all right?
You got it.
So now,
You got it.
I'll let your boy talk to me about you, Chef. Let's say, what do you do for fun? You out with a group of friends? What type of guy are you?
I'm fun. I'm outgoing. I'm dependable. I'm a ladies' man. So when I come out, ultimately my homies is happy because I'm gonna make sure that I introduce them to some fly women that wouldn't even look their way if I wasn't around.
Thanks, Chef. No, look. Now, you sure you look good in that thing? Because this thing is already messing up, okay?
Okay.
All right. So, now, take me back in time. You growing up, what type of kid were you? What type of family do you come from? What was it like growing up?
Baltimore was pretty rough. Unfortunately, my father died when I was 12 years old from AIDS. So it was a tough growing up in the city. We're surrounded with so many drugs and trying to fight through all the opposition of doing the right thing when so many people around me was influenced by the hustler and drug dealer's mentality. So it was pretty hard. But at the same time, it gave me my survival instincts that would carry me throughout the rest of my life because we didn't have much growing up and we always had to make something with nothing. And so that's where my drive and my determination and my ambition came from because I really did, in a sense, start from ground zero. So I don't want to take nothing away from it, but I certainly didn't grow up with a silver spoon. I mean, we literally struggled.
Back up for me a little bit. Make sure your head's not cut off, please.
You got it.
Now, or scoot your chair back a little bit if you can, and then you can scoot up as much as you like. Okay, cool. Now, wait a minute. Take me back to you as a kid. Mom, what did she do for a living? How many siblings did you have? What was it like for you? Like, as a kid, you lost your dad. Talk to me.
Well, as you know how it works in the ghetto, so to speak, we didn't have the same, me and my brothers and sister actually don't have the same father. So when it happened, it was really my father. And so that's what made it much harder as life would go on because my brother could still go hang out with his father and my sister could go hang out with her father. And it kind of was like Christmas, I was stuck with my mother because my father couldn't come to get me. I have an older sister that's about 7 years older than me, and I have a younger brother that's 1 year younger than me. So I was the middle child. So in a sense, that's how I learned to cook and take care of my brother because my mother worked nights at a school. And so when we got home from school, she would be on her way to work. My sister was 8 years older. She had already moved out. And so now there's literally me and my brother. So Robert, you make sure your brother do his homework. So I was like a super duper mature kid at 13 years old. I'm checking homework at 13. I'm cooking dinner at 13. I'm possibly washing clothes at 13. It was times where she would go to work and leave me money on the counter and say, catch the bus to the market, spend $80 and come back. And so that, in a sense, is where the maturity level came in at with me because I grew up so fast that it helped as I got older, but I missed out on a lot of basic childhood things while you over there trying to charge up your remote control car. I'm in there laying out my school clothes for me and my brother and cooking us dinner.
Dude, going through that or even thinking back on it, like, was that tough on you? Like, what are your thoughts during how do you think about that?
To this day is heartbreaking because I would go on to have children myself. And so now I realize the importance of the father figure role in the household years later. And so my children are, my father died when I was about 12. And so both of my children are over 12. And so I say to them all the time that I cannot even imagine, like, I'm looking at y'all now realizing like, wow, this is the stage that my father left me in. And so it makes me feel good to know that I outlived him. My father died when he was 33. I'm 37. And so I feel like I got 4 more years on earth than what he had. So the blessing is to say, wow, just imagine had he stayed a little bit longer. 12 years old, you in the 6th grade. Like, you need your father to teach you stuff. My mother wasn't home, so like, again, it pushes you into the street life because now you find yourself with role models and older guys that's basically the voice of influence because you don't want to listen to your mother. She can't tell you how to be tough. She can't teach you how to play basketball. She's not going to be able to tell you the rules of a football game. And so as much, I'm not saying that I was naive or I went against, it was just a lot of stuff that I missed out on it. And unfortunately, you know how it works with my brother and sister having their own separate father. I mean, they wasn't really trying to take on the responsibility of a child that technically wasn't theirs. Not to mention the fact that they wasn't with my mother anymore. So it's kind of like, I got a son by you. I'm going to make sure that he right. Unfortunate about your other son. I love him to death. I think he's a great guy. But I think that birthed something in me that you can see. That's where that termination comes from. I really honestly had to fight my whole life to build the life that I would want to have for myself because I was deprived of it coming up.
So now, okay. Now, take me into high school. Like, what type of student were you in high school?
I was extremely intelligent. The good thing that my mother did...
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
No, we're behind. One sec. You hear me now?
I can hear you, yes.
No, you can't. I'll call you right back. Stay there.
No, I can hear you. You said, what am I... what was
I
it
know.
like?
You can hear me. You can hear me. It's just behind. Will you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Count to 3 for me.
1, 2, 3.
All right. It looks good. It's back on. Okay. So now, high school. Talk to me about it. What was it like for you then?
High school for me was an incredible experience. My older sister had got accepted into a vocational technical high school for cosmetology. I wanted to emulate what she had going on, and so I went to this same school, and I took a lot of pride when I made it to this school because you had to be accepted. You had to have good grades. So all throughout middle school, I was working really hard to have good grades so that I could get enrolled into Eastern Vocational Technical High School. It was the biggest thing that was going on. All my friends was like, they don't want to go to this school. I'm like, yeah, I know, because you got to have a brain to go over here. And so in a sense, I've never been a follower. So when my middle school time came and I went into high school, I picked the school that you had to be smart. Only the elite went to the school. I applied, I was accepted, and I took culinary arts and restaurant management. That's where I began to learn the culinary arts industry, and in turn, that would be the information that I've used to this day to excel myself. And so in a sense, my high school years was the biggest years of my life, even before I knew it, that years later, the information that I learned in culinary arts would be the same information that I use to take myself to a whole nother level. And so I'm extremely proud of the decisions that I made going to school. But it was rough. I mean, it was kind of a lot of tension at the time. I was the only African-American male in my class for years on end. And so it was a little, I was fighting to be accepted in a sense, but at the same time staying focused on my studies. And so I got slack from my boys because I go to this prestigious school. I got slack because I went to the school and I was the only person of color at the school. And so it was, in that sense, it wasn't cool. But overall, grand scheme of things, it was an incredible experience. I'm glad that I didn't go to the other high school that didn't teach trades, because then years later, they took trades out of schools. And so my friends at 19 and 20 had no skills. And even if I didn't want to stay in the culinary arts industry, I had certification for something by the time I was 18 years old. So big ups to EVT, the Mavericks. I love y'all. Thank you for doing everything that y'all did with me. But yeah, high school was the shit, man. High school was great.
So, head still not cut off in that video down there, right?
No, sir.
Awesome. Okay. This thing gives a little lag, man. Oh no, don't mess me up with that video now. All right. So now, okay. Nowadays, wait. Did you say you was a daddy?
I am a father. I know I look about 18 years old, but I actually have an 18-year-old son who just graduated from high school, and he followed in my footsteps as well and went to the same school that I went to, and he took carpentry. So we started a family tradition within this school.
Talk to me about being a father. Talk to me about how many children do you have. I want to know all about you. Family life, please.
Family life. All right, so I'm the father of an 18-year-old identical twin. His name is Robert. He looks exactly like me. His personality is just like me. He's driven just like me. It was the ultimate experience as a man to be able to create a boy. Like, this is like the wish list of every guy, to have your son. And so to be able to understand the importance of a father figure in my son's life due to the absence of my own father figure, and in turn, it gave me an opportunity to be the best dad that I could be. Not only for myself, but as a way to kind of show my father the appreciation that I had for him, because I know that he didn't plan to die. And so in a sense, I said, Pop, I'm going to raise this son the way that I think you wanted to raise me and make you proud. And so that was a good thing. About 7 or 8 years later, I have a little girl. And that's when my perspective of women changed altogether, because I created a woman. And so when I did, I seen the nature and the spirit of a child, and it made me understand. And so now I get along with females way, way better now, because I've raised one. So I understand the importance of certain actions. As my son, it was all about smacking him in his head, beating him up when he wasn't doing right, punching him in his stomach, you know what I'm saying, sending him to bed hungry. My little girl, it was the complete opposite. It was, you set the house on fire, don't worry about it, baby. Daddy gonna put it out for you right now. Don't you worry about it. So my son is jealous because he says, Dad, the same stuff you would have broke my neck for, you find it funny with her. And I said, well, hey, that's how it is, son. So no, it's an incredible experience. I'm blessed to have 2 children that love me, adore me. I'm blessed to have 2 children that sacrifice greatly for some of the things that their father has had to go through in order to become successful in my career. And so I've had to move around some cities, and I had to live in Los Angeles. And so in the grander scheme of things, I put a lot of pressure on my children as well to understand that, hey, Daddy wants greatness for you. And so in a sense, please don't think for 1 minute that, because they can compare me to some of their friends' fathers that aren't around. So your daddy not being around isn't equivalent to him not having a love for you or care for you. Your daddy at times don't be around because he's putting himself in a position to do things for you that I never imagined. And so it's rewarding to be able to cook for Lunel and bring my children to meet Lunel, or go to San Francisco for an event and have my children visit San Francisco. Had I not took the leap of faith and believed in myself to that point, I don't have anything to show my children. And so now I feel blessed that in a sense I've been able to do stuff with my children. Their mother has never been to California. My kids been to California 5 times. Their aunts and uncles have never been to Vegas. My kids have lived in Vegas for 6 and 7 months. And so they go back now, and they now realize that Daddy not just trying to sell us on something. We are getting opportunities to see things that people who've been on earth for 40 years have not seen. That my daughter at 8 has been around the world twice.
How old did you say your daughter was? 7?
No, that was 7 years in between my son and my daughter. My daughter is actually 13 and my son is 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
13.
I still look good too, brother. Trust me. I be having to fight the girls off me. I promise you. Sometimes women try to talk to me and be like, how old are you? And they try to figure it out. Because I don't have no beard. I don't have no facial hair. You know what I'm saying? And they'd be like, oh, so yeah, you know, how you doing? Are you married? I'm like, no. They're like, you have children? I said, yeah. They said, how old is your son? I said, he's 18. They like, what? 18? Then you see the math going off in their head, like 18. Even at a bare minimum, did you have him at 14? That still puts you over 30 plus. Like, wait a minute. And I'm like, well, that's what you get for messing with grown folks. Your mama should have told you about that a long time ago. That check IDs, but no. How about I give you my son's phone number? Because if you're attracted to me, then guess what? I can give you the next best thing to me, which is him. You know what I'm saying? Without the flaws. So my son loved me too because he like, Dad, did any young girls try to talk to you yet that you want to give to me? And I'm like, son, I got to stop taking numbers before we get a lawsuit. But if you happen to be with me when it goes down, I'm going to point them right over there to you.
Oh, man, you crack me up. All right. Okay, but while we are still on the same topic, you lost your father when you were 12.
12 years old, yeah.
You said what?
He died when I was 12. My father used to shoot drugs intravenously, and he shared the needle with somebody who had HIV. He contacted the virus. This is when, like in 1980 something, when it first hit. And this was the scariest thing, but it was also a good thing for me because, in a sense, it made me not naive to the world. And I understood that things do happen. Now, to think about the magnitude of the disease is just coming to the United States of America. Like literally at this point, it was maybe still being able to count on your hand how many people actually had it. And then to think that it's almost impossible for it to get to you. And then in turn, it strikes your father. And it was like he couldn't waste no time. So he had to tell me the truth. And he said, this is what happened. And so it put a stain on me because, again, I'm older now, so I'm able to say it. But you can imagine at 14 years old, do you think you want to tell a girl that your father died from AIDS? Like, even when I felt like I wanted to talk about it, it instantly was like, you think the boogeyman is bad, then you can't imagine to say, my father died of AIDS, and then naturally not expect somebody to say, do you have it too? So I had to hide that for a long time. And, you know, not to discredit his death, but, you know, growing up in the inner city is like, nah, my father didn't die in a shootout, so we're not going to give him that title. No, he, you know what I'm saying, didn't, you know, commit suicide, so we're not going to say that. You know, he didn't, you know, so it's like you don't want to say what it truly is, but then you still holding on to his name. And it's my father, regardless of what happened. Okay, cool, that's what happened, I get it. But yes, my father didn't rob a bank and get shot by the police. He shot drugs. He used a dirty needle. He ended up catching AIDS. And he died rather quickly because even as we know now, that it's like, I look at people like Magic Johnson and it breaks my heart because I say, damn, had that been my father, he'd still be alive because you had the same thing. So, damn if you do, damn if you don't, but it gave me a sense of gratitude. Now, one thing I shared with you where it just crushed me because I'm the last steward. My father was a steward. I'm his only son. We come from a small line of stewards. There are no more stewards. It's me and him. Well, it was him and me. So I carried the name. Until I had my son, I could have died out with my bloodline. If I died the day of tomorrow before the son, Stewart family name is no more. And so my son basically carries my last name for me. My daughter, I'm glad, but I know that in due time that when she falls in love and gets to that stage in her life, the brother is going to be saying, wait a minute, you my wife, our kids is carrying my last name. And even if they technically did take on our last name, in a sense, is really his bloodline, to be honest. You know what I mean? So we can't break traditional mold to try to die out his family structure so his name can't live forever because of something that happened within our bloodline. So it's down to me and my son. And so I done hung me up. My gun is on the shelf. I'm cool. But at the same time, I don't want my son to go have a bunch of kids, but I would not be mad at him if he went and got married tomorrow and had 3 kids with somebody.
So, okay. Now, tell me when it comes down to you after that. I didn't hear anything about you being married.
Well, I mean, no fortune, no fame. But no, unfortunately, if you think of the math of my children, when I first had my son, I was about 21. I realistically, at that point, kind of didn't even think that I could get somebody pregnant. Not to be naive to it, but it kind of was like, I'm really just out here. I'm dating. I'm having fun. And
No. We're not going back there. Nowadays, are you married now?
no, I'm looking for somebody who can match my intensity, man. So if you know somebody that wants to get married to a chef, holla at me. But you know, we in a different age bracket right now. We in a different tax bracket. And unfortunately, I'm in an age bracket where most of the women that I meet have already been messed up with so many other guys that the whole idea of trusting somebody is fictitious. It's almost non-existent. And so I'm in a place where I want to find the right person. I mean, I've created some success for myself, and I want to make sure that I have somebody who genuinely cares about me. And so everybody now just wants to date. Women have become more so the men. Like, you remember how the men used to try to supposedly smash and go? That's what women are doing now. Women are telling you straight up, listen, I don't want no drama. I got a career. I got a house. I got a car. I don't feel like being lied to. I'm just looking for somebody that's cool enough to kick it and not gonna get dramatic or act like they my boyfriend or my lover because we went out on 2 dates. So you tell me what I'm supposed to do when everybody I meet is telling me basically, check this out. I'm not trying to date nobody. I don't want to be serious no more. I just came out of a 6-year relationship. Guy had 2 kids on me. I'm done trusting men. And so, unfortunately, it puts me back into a predicament where I got to roll with the punches. And so the funny part is, if I agree to it and I'm like, okay, cool, let's just casually date. Now I go back with the stereotype of I'm not to be trusted because I got 6 people calling my phone. Well, rightfully so. If I told you I want to be with you and you said no, and then Keisha's saying the same thing, I'm realizing, check this out. I'm just going to be the ultimate dater until somebody decides that they're getting tired of the dating game. And before I get into a wheelchair, maybe I'll find somebody who's ready to do this thing. But I'm able. I'm ready. I'm a chef. I work out a couple times a week. I'm ready to go across the world and have fun. So in a sense, it's like, you know, I'm the best catch that's going. So I can kind of pick and choose. So Rihanna is taken, so I messed up there. Beyonce is gone. I messed up there. I mean, Janae Monáe, I mean, I like her too, but I don't know what the whole thing she just said about, you know, going which way. So I might not even be her cup of tea. And so I'm down to like, who am I left to deal with? I mean, honestly, I think Carly Red is sexy. So if we can get in touch with Carly, maybe she won't go on a date. But yeah, I'm messed up, man. So I guess I gotta do what everybody else do and go get me a Kardashian. So please, let's go ahead and air me and let's go ahead and get me a Kardashian. Let's go ahead and get me a Kardashian. Because I think it's one left, if I ain't mistaken. It should be one more left. And if it's one left, I'm in. But other than that, no, man, I'm not married. I'm single. I'm out here, like they say, man. I'm out there like swimwear. I ain't on no website, so you ain't gonna find me on Christian Mingle or Snapchat or none of that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna get me on Backpage or none of that. I still got some integrity. But ladies, yes, please. Instagram, DM all day long. I'm taking apps. Please. Holla at your boy, Chef Stu.
All right. You're making my eyes itch.
You said you wanted to get some tears about you, so hey, we gonna bring some tears down, but they're gonna be tears of joy.
First of all, we're in the same age bracket, okay? Secondly, all right, tax bracket makes me different. No, but now tell me what, no, I'm kidding. Tell me, but first of all, you got an Baltimore accent. Talk to me about you and this accent of yours.
I say the word to, do, true, blue, you, and it's over. I can't disguise myself if I wanted to. Unfortunately, so many people, I've lived in Atlanta for 10 years. I've lived in Oakland for a couple of years. Currently living in Las Vegas for a couple of years. And there's nothing I can do to shake it, brother. Honestly, like, I see like Michael Blackston, I hear him talk sometimes. He goes from the African back to the Philadelphia kind of talk. And like if I had that button, I would press it, because sometimes when you say to, do, and you, people start to think that you might be slow. And I'm saying, no, I'm not slow. Sorry, I'm not slow at all. It just so happens that we pronounce our words different. And so you say Baltimore, they say Baltimore. You say Maryland, they say Maryland. You say I'm going to get a dog, I say where the dog at. So I say different words. And so when I come on the show, I'm going to need y'all to basically have a disclaimer that if you need a spelling for something that I say versus the pronunciation of what I say, please feel free to allow for me to go ahead and turn it into a spelling bee. This can be the first time that a contestant has to spell out his answers, because his accent is so heavy that we don't know actually what he said. So I could have got the answer right, but y'all couldn't even understand what I was saying.
Okay, you're gonna have my eyes all puffy for the rest of the day. That's not happening. Now, take me down the line. First, what does food mean to you?
Food is what people consider the universal language. I know a lot of time they say music in a sense, but it depends, because each music genre is different and appeals to a different ears. However, food is the same for all stomachs. And so there is no country music food for this demographic, rap music for this demographic, heavy metal for this demographic. Chicken is chicken. So no matter what music you like, chicken is chicken. And so in a sense, when people want to kind of deal with anything, music definitely plays its part, but in a sense, food does too. Because think about it. You want to celebrate success? What do? You go to dinner. You don't go put on your favorite rap song. You just got married. Guess what you do? You hire a chef to cater your wedding. You just lost your job. You feel like your life is over. Guess what happens? Your friends take you to happy hour, get you some drinks, and y'all get some wings. You meet a girl tomorrow. You know, the girls who just want to play the dating game. Guess what they want to do? They want to go out and eat. So in a sense, no matter what's going on. Now, if you think that music alone is the universal music, the next time you want to date, turn on the radio for 8 hours straight and see how far that gets you. For somebody to turn that music right on down and ask you, where the hell is McDonald's? What time is we ordering something to eat? You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the songs that you put me on to, but my stomach growling. You can go days without listening to music. Let me see you go a couple days without eating, and I rest my case. So food is the fiber of our existence. You do not survive without it. And so it's an essential fiber of our being. It's not an additive to it, the existence that we have. So food does that. And I've been able to master food and utilize foods to cross all types of ethnic barriers by showing myself able to study other cultures, in a sense that I have Indian friends now. You know why? Because I learned how to cook Indian food. I have Jamaican friends now. You know why? Because I had to find out how to cook authentic Jamaican food. Now, you know how the rap game is. Meek Mill got destroyed when he said something about Drake and the songwriter. So nobody really wants to give up the secrets of how the music is actually being made. So in a sense, it's a secret society within that world. So that's how I see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just ate this morning before this whole thing. Why you think I'm pumped up like this? Because I just had a multi-grain bagel with some great bacon that was crispy, a sauteed omelet with vegetables, cheese, a good frozen cup of orange juice, and I'm feeling great. Now, guess what? I ain't had no music on all day, and I still feel good. So it's a proven fact. Food will keep you through. Music make you feel better after you had a good sandwich.
I'm just extremely happy you pronunciate food correctly. Okay, now tell me. I thought you were gonna say feud or something
no.
like.
I kind of help it. Like, it's only Doug. It's only certain trigger words. It's to, you, and do. So don't ever ask me a question that might be the answer, because you're gonna be setting me up.
It reminds me, like, what is it? Is it just hilarious? I mean, she from Baltimore.
Yeah, she say it too. She has it really bad too. Like, it's not even funny. Like, but I love her. I understand her, and at the end of the day, like if me and her was in a secret society and we got captured and kidnapped, we could still talk and wouldn't have to worry about the terrorists doing anything to us. Because they'd be like, I don't know what the hell they over there talking about. All I heard was, ooh, ooh, ooh. I think they gorillas. I think they talking in a secret animal language. And me and Jess could be plotting on how to get the hell up out of there amongst a bunch of terrorists strictly without Baltimore term. You hear me, Doug?
Yeah.
They gonna be saying Doug, thinking we talking about a man named Doug, and we talking about a pit bull.
That's enough. Enough. Okay, let's see here. Dog Planet. Yes, in your application you said something about students. What?
All right. So with that being said, as you would know, we highlighted earlier slightly that I went to culinary school. From there, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, in hopes of getting my own restaurant. I stayed in Atlanta, Georgia for about 8 years. I worked at as many restaurants as I possibly could on purpose to learn as much as I possibly could. So long story short, for 5 years, I worked with staffing agencies in different jobs part-time. I documented the whole journey called Chef Stu's Resume. Every time I worked at a place, I would make a collage. So if I worked at the Sheraton, I saved the chef jacket. I work at Taco Bell, I saved the crew member shirt. I save a pay stub, and I document this as a place that I worked on my journey to becoming this wonderful chef. Fast forward 5 years later, that consists of 56 different places. After that, I ended up working at Turner Broadcasting, started to cook for some celebrities, had a chance to cook for Shaquille O'Neal, David Banner. If you remember the show Read Between the Lines, I was the chef of that show. I got to cook for Tracy Ellis Ross and Malcolm Jamal Warner. From that, a few friends in Atlanta was like, yo, you're a celebrity chef. I said, wait a minute, slow your roll. My phone bill is about to get cut off. I need new shoes. I don't think that I'm a celebrity chef just yet. And so from that, I kept going forward. I ended up moving to Oakland, California. I had a chance to cook for Lunel. I go on Food Network. I win the show Cutthroat Kitchen. I become a household name within Food Network. I make appearances on Oprah's network. I've made appearances on Roland Martin's network. And so in a sense, I felt though it was time to give back. And I know that deep down inside that my journey had purpose because of growing up where I'm from. And so I had to do something for my city to create some type of an atmosphere where we could highlight a different career choice. I take nothing from the basketball players. I take nothing from the rappers. There is no shortage of them. But when you go into the inner cities, this is all that the kids want to do. And so I've decided that, hey, look, do they know that chefs are worth $50 million? Gordon Ramsay is worth $119 million. Paula Deen is worth $16 million. Bobby Flay got $9 million. Executive chefs make $100,000 a year. I've been able to go on television. I've been able to cook for celebrities. And so I decided to not wait until I got to the millionaire status to do something for my hometown. And what I did was put together a campaign and initiative called Transition Kitchen. Transition Kitchen is a free culinary arts program that I designed to send people to culinary training for free. I used all the resources that I had, all the money that I could collect. I started fundraising, campaigning. Long story short,